Howdy all, Left-Handed Glove here with another update to WeaponSwingTimer, and this update is all about the Hunter bar. Um, I went through that Reddit post and a lot of people wanted this one, so I put it in. They referenced yet another Hunter timer and Rise Auto Shot, and I couldn't get Rise Auto Shot to work for some reason. I don't know what was happening with it, but it wouldn't load properly. Like, I leveled a hunter on a private server just to see what they both looked like, and Rise kept crashing because I didn't have multi-shot or aimed shot in my spellbook, and so I had to level all the way to 20 to see how it worked, and then it ended up not working anyways. So I just used like a YouTube video that I found of someone using it to figure out what its behavior was, right? Yet another hunter timer worked fine, so I mostly used that one. And I guess we'll get into it. Now, this is modern WoW, so Hunter's auto shot has completely changed, but everything else should work fine. Like, all the timing should work fine, but the shots are not going to go off the way they would in Classic, so we'll just have to experiment with it a little bit. But it's got the typical behavior of the breathing bar, where white means you can move, red means you can't move, right? So white, you can move around, stop, shoot, move around, stop, shoot. And then also during the white, you could cast spells, right? So like you could cast your multi-shot or your aimed shot. And the red bar here on the white portion is the bar where if you cast multi-shot here, you would clip your next auto shot. So you wouldn't cast multi-shot if it's in the red, right? So right here. And then we also have the cast bar. It's not the same, but it works. I plan on making it a standalone bar in the future, but for right now it's just easier to put it on this one. You also have the little latency indicator at the end, because that was a pretty big part of Rise Auto Shot, was that it showed you when you could move around. And then both of the add-ons had some weird way of like figuring out if you were casting aimed shot or not. Like, I don't even really know how Rise knew that you were casting aimed shot. I think it just checked your spell book to see if that spell was like on cooldown or something, right? It just constantly pulled for it. And so Blizzard has their own like function for getting the spell data for whatever spell you're currently casting, and they also have an event for when you start casting a spell. So I just did that instead, and hopefully it works with Classic. If it doesn't, then maybe we'll see exceptions. It should just not work, but hopefully it does. And I guess now we'll just go into the settings. Oh wait, no. Also wanted to show off, if you start moving, bar doesn't fill up, right? Because in Classic, ideally your auto shot would not go off. And same thing goes if you're already charging it, it will reset back to 0 until you stop standing, and then it'll go all the way up until your shot goes off. And aimed shot will clip your auto, right? So it'll stop charging. And then if you start casting it while your next auto shot's charging up, it will clip it back to 0. Okay, now we'll go into the settings. So nothing's changed with the melee bars, right? You can enable and disable them for hunters if you want to. The global swing bar settings affects the hunter stuff, right? So in combat, out of combat, whatever. The backplane alpha, ideally you'd probably want this all the way up. That's the way Rise and yet another hunter timer were. So you would, have this completely black. So you could tell like when the bar was going to be completely full, like just in your peripheral vision. But for all the other bars, it's half. And then to actually get to the hunter bar settings, you have to go over here and like open up the drop-down menu and go here. And you can enable or disable the bar if you want to, and show aimed shot or multi-shot on the cast bar. That was a feature of yet another hunter timer. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can do that if you want to. There's also the latency bar on the cast bar, right? You could show that, like, if you could show that or not, and you could also show the multi-shot clip bar. If you don't want that, understandable, you can get rid of it. Bar height, bar width, blah blah blah, all the typical stuff. Okay, I think that's it for the hunter bar. Going into other fixes, other bug fixes that people had requested or pointed out. There was an issue where melee haste wasn't taken into account, like a pretty big issue where melee haste wasn't taken into account. So if you were like a rogue and you had slice and dice up, it wouldn't know that you had slice and dice up, and it would just think that your weapon speed was whatever the base was. That has been fixed, and that was caused by whenever you would go into combat, it would get all your updated like weapon speed and all that junk, and then while you were in combat, it wouldn't know that you got those buffs, right? It wouldn't update while you were in combat. So now it updates while you're in combat. And then future plans. Let's see, what was future plans? Future plans was I wanted to add a bunch of like beautification stuff, right? So I wanted to add borders, like the option to put on borders and change the colors of everything. Multi-language support was a pretty big one. People wanted me to change how, like, people wanted the option to change the animation of the swing bar. So, like, let's see if I even have a weapon on this guy. Okay, cool. And then we'll have to enable this stuff. So, people wanted to be able to, like, have the bar go the other way, right? Like, to where it would be full when you swing and then empty as your swing became available, right? So that the bar would be completely empty whenever your swing was available. And then you'd swing, and the bar would go back to full, and then it would drain again. What else is there? Wand support, and then non-hunter, like gun and throwing weapon and bow support. I think that was it. Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.